What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. I just had all the windows ripped out of my house and replaced, so a full day of Texas air and allergies in the house, along with dust and construction, who knows what's flying around. If I stop to take a bit of a drink, please forgive me for my unprofessionalism with my fresh, never frozen, gotta get it to you fast content. Battle of Chaos is doing nothing but falling down in price pretty much everywhere, with one silver lining for people that bought the set, the 25th anniversary Dark Magician, which still has a ton of different reports on ratios. Some people saying 2 in a case, some people saying 1, some people saying none, and it can replace any card in the pack. It doesn't seem to take up a slot of the Starlight, and the cheapest price on the market is at Gamer's Choice. They have singles up right now, including deck cores with code What'sGood5 for 5% off and to support the channel directly, and a lot of their prices seem cheaper than TCG Player or anywhere. Like looking over at eBay, the cheapest is around 516 from the UK, before Tier 0 has it up here around 565. So they're definitely at the margin of having it at 453, and if you were to look at this card and try to tell its future, anybody that tells you exactly they know what's going to happen is really guessing, because this could go a lot of different ways. Look at Battles of Legend from the past in 10,000 Dragon. It was bought out week 1 from actually people in Japan, and then a couple weeks later, as it came back down, it got bought out again, and then the hype, the craze, Moist Critical, Pokemon taking off, and people looking at other card games. It was the perfect storm for Battles of Legend, another set that didn't have a lot going for it. The prize card reprint that was short printed, and you weren't seeing a lot of those a case, and the same for Invocation, around 2 per case, and past that, the Numeron engine was very easy to get, overhyped in pre-sales, and fell way down in price. So this was a set very thirsty for value, but definitely the 10,000 Dragon saved it. But look at it now in terms of its price history, nothing but coming back down and then hitting 1,200 and then slowly going back up towards 1,500 over time. So with this Dark Magician, that is a name that is one of the top collectibles in Yu-Gi-Oh! After Blue Eyes White Dragon being our Charizard, Dark Magician comes to mind second, along with Dark Magician Girl. And I think that with this being special in a core set, you have different pathings. Do a group of vendors, week 1, sit down and go, you know, we're super deep into the set, we have the sealed, do we buy it out here? Or do they just let it go? They're like, I'm cutting my losses, I'm selling this as fast as I can, I'm fire selling it and trying to get it out. You still have that pre-sale lock on TCG Player. We can't really tell what the mass of vendors are thinking with that. In fact, they're still trying to get good EV on booster boxes with that upped MSRP, I suppose, of around $63. 60 used to be more so the go-to for a successful / okay set, and a really good set would start to go 65, 70 pretty fast, like, you know, Burst of Destiny. But when we look at this set, Guardian Chimera, the Starlight, over in the OCG is $20 or under. The Starlight version of this. I feel like in overhyped history, we see a lot of fusions that get a lot of smoke as the set comes out, and yes, you have Albaz in the future, but it's done nothing but go down. They were trying to get 75 early on TCG Player. Illusion of Chaos, a DM card. Yes, it has a lot going for it, but really, do you think it's even going to stick at 45? I kind of see this falling towards 35, 30. Sales ban being the new prohibition that's better or worse, or however you feel about it, it's going down pretty fast too. And the Blue Eyes Jet is about 20, where I thought it would be, but this early means it's probably going to go even lower. Flunderies and the Advent of Adventure, I feel like, is the #1 card that is undervalued in the set, although here it's at 10, where a lot of pre-salers are doing 8, 7. The Zombie Vampire, I also feel like for a generic 8, has been heavily overlooked as a secret rare by a lot of people, and it, with some pre-sellers, was down to $5. I actually haven't looked through Gamer's Choice pre-sales on their secrets to see where they have it at. Genuine reaction time. $9, so it seems like they're going closer to TCG Player than, say, Daily or Tier 0 was, and they do have cheaper prices on some of their secrets, and you can get them even cheaper with code What'sGood5 for 5% off and to support the channel directly. But back to the silver lining for vendors, which may or may not stick. This can go a lot of different ways and routes. It could get overhyped like 10,000 Dragon and bought out by interested pockets early. It could go the way of King's Copium. These are some of the top end collectibles when you think Slifer, Obelisk, Raw, and how Ghost Raw did nothing but go up. The secret rare misprints. Yes, they are misprints. They were only in the North American product for the most part. Very few appeared anywhere else, and we still haven't seen any in other languages. They're still very low in price for what they are, and the Ultras are complete flops. Now, to be fair, the rarity is very ugly, but this is a plain Ultra Rare. It's more about the iconicness of the pose, going back to the Bandai era, and I personally do like how it looks, and when I'm interested in something, tends to do well. But I also was looking at the secret rares thinking, I like kind of how some of the secrets look outside of Obelisk, who has almost no foiling, and Slifer's even cut almost in half in price. Then you look at the Ghost Dark Magician. This is an example of something that was bought out week one, you might remember, to around $1,200 from $700, even hitting $15 for a little tiny bit, and then going way back down, and now it's around $800. If you're on a platform, you're basically getting your fees back if you bought in early at $700 a whole year ago about. And I feel like with this, you do have ghosts from the past too. You have Ghost Dark Magician Girl. People might start to complete their sets a little. It's still Dark Magician, and it's his most iconic pose. People were talking if this would rival the DDS version. Of course it didn't. But I feel like when you're going through different versions of cards in history, it's likely, even if this gets pumped early, that it's going to also still flood the market over time. This is a core set, which is very different than a limited side set. The core sets are ordered on a whole another level. There are 4 of them a year versus Battles of Legend, which always gets underestimated by vendors till this last year, where a ton of people went in on Brothers. We're going and bouncing a lot of market theory. My thought is this. I think even if it gets pumped, it will end up calming down. But this is the best deal on it right now if you are considering it. But I would kind of wait to see prices and how things go. But here's the cheapest deal if you gotta have it. Artemis, the Magistus Moon Maiden, getting a little bit of a buyout. This is what I always point to, that like Alistair and Friends, it doesn't have a reprint. Where can it get its reprint? Probably not coming anytime soon, although they could just throw her in like, you know, Ghost from the Trash 2 if they really wanted to. Looking through here, she's about $20 now when she was resting at $15. And the Collector Rare is actually not doing so hot either. Give me a second real quick. The Collector Rare is kind of just chilling long-term along that $65-ish mark that it has been, if I recall. Yeah, it says market price 67. Although the story tells a different path on the graph, that's still 60 to 66. Not the craziest thing. Yeah, she's about $66. So, again, you have that goop on a lot of collector rares that just looks terrible on Genesis Impact. But if you have a clean copy, I do like the concept of this long term, especially with the Ultra continuing to gain steam over time. But it's $20 for an Ultra Rare if you are looking at it right now. Thunder Dragon Fusion going up not just because of Thunder Dragon speculation with banlist, but because prank kids tend to like playing this card. You only have 14 copies of the Soul Fusion version, and then you also have the 2019 Gold Sark version going lower in quantities and not skyrocketing in price there yet, but the old school Ultra sure is at around $9 to $10. Thunder Dragon Titan also is up a little. I was looking around and seeing if anything else had moved a bunch. Thunder Dragon Titan's old school version, $660. It's not the biggest jump from, say, $4 to $5, but it's just interesting to note that all the Thunder Dragon stuff has gained steam over time. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, maybe thanks to Master Duel bringing a lot of people back and giving that guaranteed Ash to stop Max C. And people going, wow, this hand trip, it's pretty good. It has solo quantities on all of its versions, even gold rare versions. Now, remember when you could get these oh so cheap $8 pre-sales, was it? And then looking through every single version, you have the common still being $20+, and the market price just slowly going up and up on each of these until they're about $25 besides the original, which the secret rare, of course, has the biggest price. Ghost Bell, though, the secret rare first editions are getting little traction as a lot of Eldritch looks are being and going around. And with that, you also have Lord of the Heavenly Prison spiking even further. We covered this as one you would want to watch, and then covered when it initially spiked, and it's doing a double down buyout towards 40. But first edition Ghost Spell to counter that, not the worst thing in the world, and not the most expensive thing in the world either. Where are the actual first eds here beginning? Yeah, I clicked the right page. Market Man Intuition, around $60 at this point in time. Witchcrafter Golem Aruru, we do not know when the Witchcrafter, when the Zombie, when the Sky Striker support will drop for us in the TCG, but we do know that it has dropped in the OCG. It is going up slowly over here. Let me know if there's any other reason, as this does have some generic applications, but definitely going up a little in price for the secret. And Shiranui Solitaire Ultra Rares, generic zombie goodness, also could be a reason for this. It is going up in price, where the first edition and even Unlimiteds are disappearing a bit on the Dark Illusion version. I wanted to say Tittle, and I was like, wait, not everyone's gonna get that abbreviation. Borreload Savage Dragon has been very stable in price, but it's getting even lower in quantities for the first ed original Savage Strike versions. And of course, there's Unlim Savage Strike, because it was one of those that had a special edition. You remember those? It is around $32, which isn't like glaring crazy. It's had its up and downs, but it's very, very low on quantities for both versions, and that's something to keep an eye on. And finally, Junk Forward's getting talked more about with Prank Kids. I'm mixing up the PKs in my head. You have Phantom Knights and Prank Kids, which I'm getting mad at for the abbreviation of PK on both, but most people just give PK to that for PK Fire, and then Prank Kids, they call it Prank whatever. But for Phantom Knights, you have Junk Forward as an option, and the super rare getting rebought out again after people slept on it for a while. I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of Junk Forward, because you only really have one place you're playing him. You have to control no monsters till the beginning of the turn, but hey, if you don't open him, it's unlikely you're going to see him and have him run into your stuff, so that's why people tend to like to play this in their list. What do you guys think of everything going on with the market, and how bad Battle of Chaos is doing, and where do you think the route for Dark Magician, this special 25th anniversary edition, will go? I do think there's a lot of different paths that this could end up taking, and I do like the art. I do like the concept. I like how Konami dropped it in addition to the Starlights, but this set is so thirsty for value. It's gonna be weird to watch how it does, not only in the short term, but long term for the singles and the cards. Very DM era Dawn of Majesty asked, how will it succeed? How will it move forward? We'll have to wait and see on that one.